Hi guys, so today I want to show you my process for making a sign like this using liquid glass and different ways to get this sort of blended and shaded paint. So it's really easy. I don't spend a lot of time on painting. I remove my piece from the laser with everything intact just by putting some masking paper over the top of it and just like squeegeeing it down to make sure all the pieces are going to stay where they belong. And then carefully, which I'm not doing, okay, slowly and carefully just taking the masking paper off. And I will keep the masking paper close by because I will use it when I want to take some pieces outside to spray paint. Okay. I'm not too worried about the words. I just want to show you the graphic. Okay, so I just grab a little plate or something. I buy these plastic plates, are great from Walmart. They're super cheap and they wash up really easily. Okay, so I like to use a chalk paint as my base. I never use paint right from the bottle. I just like to mix my own colors. I'll use any kind of chalk paint. There's some from Hobby Lobby makes chalk paint. Like, you can find it all over the place. I kind of just like the texture. It's a little bit thicker than your regular craft paints, and it gives you a really nice coverage. So I just start with a little bit of paint, and let's see, I really just mix in. These are just cheap craft paints. You don't have to spend a lot of money on like artist paints. I have a lot of those and they're great, but for something like this, it's not necessary. And I'm just gonna blend. So because I know I'm going to use liquid glass, I'm gonna want these not too light because I wipe a lot of the paint off anyways. And I want to be able to push some of that paint to the edges. So let's see. I'm working on a small table today, so bear with me. And I'm just gonna blend. Honestly, I am so messy and pretty disorganized. Most of the time I create a sample first to show you, but we're just gonna wing it today. I haven't even made this one yet. So I just paint it. While it's still nestled in its spot, and I'm not really too worried about going on to that border. That gets removed, spray painted, and that's gonna cover any of my paint. Looks good. So then I'm gonna grab a baby white, and I like to remove from the center and kind of just push that paint to the edges. I like it a little darker on the edges. You're really just blending it in there. I'm not getting the darker edge that I want, so I can fix that. I'm kind of getting it by just rubbing the paint off. So that's a little lighter than I wanted. I'm just gonna go back and do it again. Pull in some darker paint. I don't want this piece to be too pastel. That's probably closer to what I wanted. Okay, let's go back and do that again. Maybe it'll be closer to what I had in mind. I'm just pushing hard and just removing the paint. Okay, that's pretty good. I just wipe my brush off. I don't go and wash my brush like I should, but okay, I think we're gonna go with like an orangey. Most of the time when I'm mixing, I love to put in some kind of beige or brown. I put that in almost all of my colors. I just think it gives your paint like a kind of muted hue, and I love it. So looks good. I don't mind getting paint on the border, but I am trying to be careful not to get it on my other piece. I have a smaller brush. If you do get it on the other piece, it's not a big deal. You can just wipe it away while it's still wet, but it's just easier not to have to deal with that. Okay. Again, get a baby wipe. I'll take a fresh one. My paint is still pretty wet. It's fine. Just rubbing from the center, leaving it painted on the sides. Bring this up so you can see. So I'm really getting like a shaded effect because I left the more paint on the edges and I really like it. So that's fine. If any of your edges are too hard, like they don't blend, just blend it out a little bit. You can always add more paint if you don't like the effect you're getting. Super easy. So let's see, let's get a reddish color in there. I kind of blend them all together. Honestly, I'm probably the messiest painter. If you don't like what you did, you can just wipe it off and go back. I'm not even really worried that, you know, you can see some of the orangey paint got in there. It's fine. So this piece has a knot and a little bit of a different texture on the wood itself, and I don't really like the way that's patterning out. So I think I'm gonna have this piece have a little bit more paint and not be so transparent from wiping it. Because I love seeing the wood grain, but not when there's like weird pieces. So just play with that one a little bit until I like how the wood grain blends in with my paint. I'm just going a little bit more gently because I don't want to remove too much paint. I'm not sure about this piece. Well, it basically looks the same, but I think it's fine. We'll just leave it alone. All right, now I'm gonna do another green, but I want it to be a different color than this green, so throw in some orange. Honestly, I just play around until I get some colors that I think look good. Maybe grab some of that brown. Let's see what we get. You can just test a little piece of your board. So I really like how this is a more olivey. So I think we'll just go with that. Yeah. Switch brushes, get that little edge so I don't get it on my red, which I guess is more like a rose. Great. Because I don't want to blend this into my red, I'm going to start at the top and go down. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of just how I quickly paint. I'm gonna go and do these pieces, but I don't want this video to get too long, so I'm gonna go do these pieces and probably spray paint my letters outside. And then I'm gonna come back and show you how I apply the liquid glass and finish it off. Okay guys, so I'm back with my sign glued down. Let me just, okay. So I glued everything down and it's ready for some liquid glass. So this is the product that I use. It's made by TriArt. You can get this at Dick Blick art stores and Premium Artist Supply. This is what the new bottle looks like. I am working with my old bottle. So I like to use these little fine tip craft bottles. You could find these on Amazon. They just make it so easy to get into the tiny areas. Let's start. I'm gonna work over here. So you're just squeezing, you wanna put a lot on. I use as much as the piece will hold. It's a pretty thick product. There's a lot of give to moving it around. I only use these bottles on smaller pieces. I'm kind of used to using a paintbrush with them. You want to make sure you're getting right to the very edges because you can tell when it's dry. I don't know. I want to make sure you can see. It's kind of hard for me to do on camera because normally I just have my face up really close to it. My vision isn't the best and I like to get really close. This product is non-toxic. It's not like resin really. It gives the same appearance, but it's a safe product to use. There's no odor. So I can see I'm not getting really perfectly on those edges. You have a little bit of time to go back before it starts setting. So you're just applying a nice even thick layer. Getting perfectly to the edges again. These bottles they're great to use, but they don't release a lot of the product. So they're kind of hard to squeeze. I think I'm gonna look for some with a bigger tip, especially for pieces like this that are a little bit wider or like the piece is bigger. Okay, so what I'll do is just bring some with a paintbrush add it to my piece, and then I can just move it around. Okay, let's try that. That's what I was doing yesterday with another piece. I'm holding my board at an angle, so it's wanting to drip. Just gonna get in there. I actually need to get a lot closer to this to finish it. It's not the easiest doing this on camera because I like to get really, really close. My face would be in the way. I don't really have problems with bubbles. I know some people have told me that they get bubbles, but I don't know. That's never been an issue for me. And kind of tilt it around and make sure that you've covered everywhere really nicely. Okay, so that's pretty good. Again, this is kind of hard to do on camera. If I was just doing this myself, I would be really close to it, to the edge or to the piece, and checking to make sure that I'm doing it really perfectly. So for a bigger piece like this, I will definitely pull on a big glob of it and move it around. And I would start, you know, at one section and work my way over, because you don't want to start here and then have to go down here and it starts setting already. So that is about it. That's how I apply it. I'm going to go and do the rest, and then I'll show you the finished result. Okay guys, my sign is finished. This is like a 12 by 18. And I really love the way the liquid glass ended up. I don't know if you can tell, but it just gives you a little bit of depth to your paint. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope these videos are helpful.